Welcome back to Boring Reviews.
Boring Land.
Oh, just kidding.
Blasphemer!
All
Hello,
right.
Boring Review Nation!
Kind of pointless.
We know all things.
All right, Mirzapur fans, what's happening? Nick here.
Bro, just so you guys know, I've actually bought the theme song to it, and I was gonna come in an intro with it, and he's like, bro, we're gonna get copyrighted with it, bro. He's like, don't do it. Bro, I had to get it. I went on iTunes, I had to get it. I'm like, yo, this show, dude, the theme song's on iTunes, guys, 99 cents. Make it happen. Oh, Nick, I am so excited for this review. I gotta say, you know what? Everybody's shady in this show. Everybody did not see that coming from she doesn't get a lot of love. Well, Mrs. Tripathi, right? The
Bina
did not see that coming from Bina, bro. Everybody's shady, man. It's like, bro, it's like the OK Corral, bro. It's every man for themselves in here, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh,
it's the plot thickens. We were episode 3 review, full of spoilers, 100%. And we've got these characters that we know and love, and they continue to be developed. For the first time since episode 1 of the first season, we see Mr. Pandit doing something, right? He's out there knocking on doors. He's trying to get the attention of everybody. He's trying to get someone to listen to him. And guess what?
Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead. Because I know you were defending him. And some people even say, you know what? Nick's right. They said Nick's right. It's a cultural thing. And I don't understand. Listen, I don't care what part of the world you from, cousin. All right? Yo, it's really simple. They're gangsters associated with politicians. You got no shot. All right. Did you see? That was my favorite scene because I knew that was going to come up. And I was like, I told you. Sorry, I can't help you. No. But he killed you. I can't get involved. Not one person. And in reality, what did I say? It works like that on a smaller scale. See, everybody watches Nick, Donnie Brasco, and thinks, oh, yeah, anytime I testify that they're going to relocate me, put me in Arizona somewhere. No, unless you're testifying for the feds in a major case, bro, you're going to go back to the same apartment or house in the same neighborhood where they know where to find you, and who can just relocate that easy? Let's say today you had to relocate, can you just up and pick up without assistance from the government? Just
listen.
It takes a minute. Just
calm down with your bad self. Of course your prediction was correct because this is a show about gangsters, for crying out loud. This is a show where everybody in every town around knows the Tripathi name, okay? It's a show based on those major characters. So, of course, you're going to be right with that one. So calm down with your bad stuff. But like I was saying, you got Mr. Pandit trying to do something. He's trying to build a case. I'm watching this thinking to myself, how is this guy really making any money? Because he's a lawyer going against this organized crime or disorganized crime, whatever you want to say. He can't get too many clients. How does this guy put food on the table? But you feel bad for this guy because, he's going everywhere. He's knocking on doors. He's arguing with his wife. She's like, you don't eat dinner with me no more. He's like, I told you. Can't do it. He's like, nothing's working for me right now. So I thought that was nice to see. There wasn't much with the story there besides that and besides striking out. But it was nice to see that. But, in this episode, and I'm not going to lie, I've already seen 3 and 4. So I'm trying my hardest not to get the 2 episodes mixed up, right? Not to get those episodes mixed up. I'm going to let you start on what you think so I can get my bearings straight so I don't mention things from episode 4. And if it happens, you guys know why.
Well, again, that was kind of the storyline there. And buttoning that up, where you see he is feeling the guilt, okay? You see that he's feeling like, oh, yeah, you know what? I started the whole thing by trying to go after them. So obviously I'm going to go after them. And he's trying to fulfill that, all right? Next storyline. This is why I fell in love with Pankaj Tripathi. Bro, he's a chameleon. He could play any character. Now, I love Nawaz. You guys know I love Nawaz. Nawaz and Siddiqui, to me, is a national treasure. But Nawazuddin Siddiqui is a character type. You know what I'm saying? And people have said that about Al Pacino. Like, let's be real. Most of his best roles, he's a bad guy. Okay, very seldomly he's not playing in Kindergarten Cop. All right, he's not playing. I'm just saying he doesn't play in those kind of films. And he's been in a few comedic films, but it just doesn't work. That's not the presence they have. This, even though he's a gangster in this, the whole interaction with him at the sex doctor with Marpool was just hilarious, and he makes it funny without actually laughing himself. But it was such a comedic scene. Didn't it remind you of Ingrizi when he's like trying to get the fake passports or whatever, and he could be saying something stone face, but just the dialogue and what's going on is funny. And I thought that Marpool situation is funny. Like, come on, this doctor's gonna believe that this, young, vibrant Marpool that's all yoked up is the guy having issues, and he's like,
and he didn't, and there's no way he did. But man, you can tell Marpool felt very, very uncomfortable with that whole situation. It was comical, but I would say, this is what I want to say, and it happened a little bit in episode 4. We'll get that to the next review. The music was more comedic with the music. For me, with the tone that Mirzapur's established, for me, for this show, it was a little too much comedy, if that makes sense. It was almost borderline slapstick, and I was thinking, like, please don't go there too much. You guys have a lane that works really, really nicely. It was a nice comedic relief, and it was kind of funny because he's embarrassed about it, but it didn't go too far, but it was on that edge where I'm like, please don't go too far with it.
It was the first thing I thought of this episode, like, man, this guy's got range. But the fact that he can be funny without trying to be funny, you know what I'm saying? That was what sold it there. And then Marpool's reaction was just precious. Like, he's like, it's okay, Marpool. The patient must sit down. But let's be real. Any Don would throw anybody under the... He doesn't want to admit it or whatever. Obviously, the doctor knew what was going on and handed him the cup or whatever. And, that's going to cause issues or whatever. Because, you can't just go in and say, yeah, I need some pills. You're going to have to go check your testosterone or whatever. Make sure you get the right dosage. So the doctor's going to find out, or he's going to find out through the doctor that he's shooting blanks. But yet his wife just told him she's knocked up. You know what I'm saying? That the two don't coincide, cousin.
Not just that, but she said, I'm knocked up and it's yours. She goes to the grandpa, I'm knocked up and it's yours. I mean, and she plays that to her. Devious woman. She plays that to her advantage. I mean, she really does. She's very smart about it. But I mean, she's just like, and I had to tell you first. And he's just like, oh yes, you have the seed inside you now. I mean, this guy with his dirty romance novels about the guy peeking at his cousin or whatever that thing was. Like, what is this guy reading?
Ever, bro. Dirtiest old man ever. Here's what kills me though, and this is why I said in this episode you're getting the character building that literally none of these characters are saints. All right, they're all flawed. Okay, so you don't feel bad for anyone because she is playing them both against each other. And then the grandfather, did you catch that line where he goes, "You have the Tapati seed in you now. Take care of yourself. And even if Colleen doesn't take care of you, I'll take care of you." I'm like, is Gramps already turning on the son over some strange? Oh man, what's going on here, bro? I'm telling you,
it'll break it up, man. It'll break it up. And I think the grandpa, he has the mentality of, there's still some things I can teach my son. There's still some things that he has not learned with age. The biggest thing on this episode, and it finally came back, so I appreciate that. You brought back my recollection. The biggest thing with this episode is Gouda needs to get alliances. He's not dumb enough to realize that he can just do it by himself. And he's, the cane. I'm over the cane. I'm ready for him to heal, for crying out loud. They're kind of pushing a little too far. Let me just say that.
Bro, he got his knee blown off with a shotgun.
I don't care. Muna is like doing jumping jacks and running marathons. I'm over it right now. Okay, I'm over it. So this is a TV show, for crying out loud. But he's trying to get a deal with Lala, and he wants Lala's resources. He wants Lala's men, and Lala's like, no. He's like, you need all this stuff from me. You have nothing to offer me. I'm not gonna put my neck on the line for you. I don't want my daughter to be killed, my all that kind of stuff. I'm not putting her at risk. So, sorry, thanks, but no thanks. And so Gouda's got to, prove himself. He's got to show him that he needs him. And he busts a Babalu. And the whole time this happens, when he's trying to be the brain trust and he's trying to figure things out and play chess, the whole time it's happening, you see Golu in the background. And I'm like, all right, she's going to step in. She's going to fix this negotiation. She's going to be Babalu 2.0. And I'm not sure if she's just hesitant. I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing where she knows if she speaks up, no one's going to listen. And I'm not saying that's their culture, but I mean, come on. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but she is very, very hesitant. And I'm waiting for her to speak up. And she's got great ideas. She does. I'm waiting for her to speak up and share some of those ideas. But right now, it's just the Gouda show. And it was nice to see Gouda, who for the most part is clean now and he can think straight. This guy's got some intelligence. This guy knows what he's doing. I want the cane to go away because this guy is the Hulk, for crying out loud. But what'd you think about Gouda and his whole negotiation and the intelligence of getting someone like Lala on his side, where he knows that Lala is pretty ticked off right now?
It just shows his growth from season 1 to season. Think about it. All right, let's rewind back to season 1, right? Season 1 in Junipar, Ravi Shankar offered him a treaty, and they already knew that they were on the outs. They already had suspicions that they were on the outs with Colleen. If I'm Gouda, I'm taking that deal. All right, because at least Ravi Shankar, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but back then he thought nobody could touch me. I can do it all on my own. Fast forward to season 2, and he's like, okay, I got to make alliances because they got a lot more people. They got a lot more soldiers on that side than we got on our side. Cousin, right now it's basically just me and Gulu. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right. What are we going to do? So he's able to negotiate this deal. You see that he later on also gets his sister out of harm's way, gets her into girls' college. There's a separate storyline there. But what's important about that is he meets this guy. I don't know how this guy's going to fit in, but Robin. He looks like Robin. He looks like a shady character, all right?
He wears the same clothes all the time you see him.
Dude, that's the dude I'm going to trust with my money. But, whatever. He gets his card or whatnot. The guy says I'm in investments or whatever. All right, this guy looks like he's a shady dude as well. But Gouda, for the first time, is starting to use his head, not just his brawn. And it's almost like you can see the combination of the two, if that makes sense. Then you also find out, or in this story, I did not realize that the dude that's running around with Gouda, that's Makpool's nephew. Does Makpool know? Is this a setup from Makpool? Because again, remember, Makpool even kind of...
There's no way Makpool knows. There's no way. He's too loyal.
So why is his nephew knowing who his uncle is jumping?
I don't know. Maybe his nephew resents Tripathi because he treats his uncle like a slave, for lack of a better term, or he treats him where you don't sit down at our table and you're just right. A worker of mine. Maybe he resents that, but he definitely doesn't. He knows about Makpool because Makpool asked him, "How do you spend the night tonight?" And he's like, "No, I've got to do something." And he was very shady, very hesitant about it. He didn't want to tell him where he was going. You're right. I had no idea he was the same guy until he shows up 2 seconds later with Gouda at the place he's staying at. And I'm like, oh, this just got super interesting. And that if anything ever happens to this guy, Makpool's not going to handle it too well. And that could be that schism that kind of goes in there. I do think that's kind of a little bit of a lazy write. I've given so much credit to the writers. It's a little bit of lazy writing where if you want to create that kind of dividing line between Makpool and the Tripathis, and you have this guy who, let's face it, he's probably not going to survive much longer. But if you have something happen to him, and then that's going to start to make Makpool think twice. I could be wrong. He could just be like, no, I don't care. I'm loyal to Tripathi. But he embarrassed him with the doctor. You can tell Makpool felt uncomfortable about that. Yeah,
exactly.
Thing. They're kind of building up to that.
He even in the car earlier on I think it was episode 2, it might have been, when they leave and he says, "What did you learn?" Tripathi is telling Muna, "What did you learn?" And he said that sometimes you got to sacrifice a pawn, so the king can sit on the throne. You basically, I have no problem sacrificing you, Makpool. From not letting him in, you can see those little things building, man. And this was the first time, if you notice, it was if you miss it, blink it, miss it. Makpool gives him money And what did he say to his nephew? Don't grow up to be like me. All right. Like, bro, you see, that's gonna be the shizzle.
And
like
he's feeding his mom. I mean, this guy is not a Colleen. This guy, I mean, what did Colleen say when his wife told him that she was pregnant? He's like, I'm going to take care of you the best way possible for the next 9 months. And she said, well, what about after that? He's like, well, then you're going to take care of our child. You're going to take care of our child. I want him ready. I want him molded. I want him educated for the time I'm ready for him. But until then, you're going to take care of our child. Like, I mean, come on.
It's a different mentality. You're right, bro.
Yeah.
It's a different mentality. And I'm telling you, that was a very interesting thing. And I didn't see that coming. Like, they already got somebody in there, cousin. They already got somebody in their midst. So you know that it's going to all blow up. All right. So that's that storyline going on. All right. We had the funny chapati thing. We're like, I get it. What you say for a show as serious as Mirzapur, that little bit of comedy. But I think it's funny because it's a reality of what happens in life to dudes. You know what I mean? The older you get, you know what I mean? That's just the reality of it. I don't care if you're the Don or Mirzapur or gangs, or Wassapur or wherever you're from, the Bronx, New York. I don't care who you are, cousin. Old age affects everybody. You know what I'm saying? It happens. So I thought that was pretty funny.
And I think the funniest thing about that is how he started talking about it. He's sitting there in his whole chapati ways, and he's like, we have issues, morals and values and honor and erectile dysfunction. I'm like, where did that come from? Like, what?
I'm telling you, man, it was so much. I love that scene. I love that scene. I think it added a little levity to the show after, the last season. I think some people still haven't recovered from the Red Wedding. You know what I'm saying? That bloodbath that was. So it gave a little. So then, I don't know. Muna's starting to think. Let's get to Muna, right? Because Muna says, you know what? What's his name? Obviously was trying to get revenge, and I forget the guy's name, but the guy that basically went to Ravi Shankar's son, Sharad Shankar.
Yusuf.
So he said, you know what? Yusuf died, and he knows that him and Lala are close. I mean, their kids were going to get married for a little bit. He said, go keep an eye on Lala. This is just telling you that he's finally growing up. He's finally starting to think like a Don or whatever. And he sends people to keep an eye on Lala or whatever. And just so happens that right when his people find Lala's in the midst of making another deal with Gouda, right? They got him. They got him up at that house or that beautiful mansion or whatever it is. These guys are Spider-Man, bro. They're scaling the wall or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Now, before we get there, right? Because Gouda, this guy does not care. He goes to that Robin guy and he's like, oh, hey, my dad's got this flat in this place. You can sell it without the paperwork, right? 2 days. I mean, he sells his dad's house, his other house, his flat, doesn't even get his dad's permission so he can get some seed money. That must have been a really expensive thing because they got a big old bag of money. I thought that was interesting. I just want to mention that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I know it's the same thing. Like these demon guys are like crawling up like spiders, man.
What's going on here? I didn't know Muna employed ninjas. You know what I'm saying, dude? Ninjas for the love of
people. Tobacco. When he's like, you're going to get, the cancer and where, and he just smiles and it's like, oh man, you got to take it easy on that.
Yeah, that was disgusting. So he sends them to spy or whatever. And the dude just, scaling the wall, try to break in there. And of course, this is where we see that, wow, I'm so horrible with names.
Gun practice, Golu,
yes. That Golu, her gun practice worked out or whatnot, and she's not the same Golu. She's ready to go. She starts popping people. Now, my question is, what they think they were gonna do? 2 dudes when you got a fortress of dudes in there, like you're gonna just incognito sneak in.
Think about it, man. I mean, think about for anyone that's played like a first-person shooter type game, like you either have your guys in the center where you're trying to protect it, or you have them on the perimeter. You rarely have enough guys to do both. They had all their guys. I mean, these are the worst guys of all time, right? Because you got Mockpool's nephew who's asking for a light. And it's cool how they film the whole thing where you kind of the camera's going around. You can see these guys crawling in the background. No one's on the other side of that little wall by the stairs. They're all sitting there by the light. They don't want to be in the darkness. Those guys crawl up the wall, both of them. No one notices anything about that. They wait smartly for that one guy who's got that one side to jump over and take him out. I mean, Lala's got guys out there, but you can't expect him to have 100 guys out there. So they get back past the guard who's the closest, and now they don't expect some, girl Golu to come out of nowhere. And then not just that, but not to hesitate with a weapon. I mean, and not just that, but the guy, they get some licks off Lala, and I thought he was injured a lot worse than he appeared to be.
Right.
But man, I had never seen a show where a guy gets, almost shot and he falls down on the flashlight that he's holding in his mouth. I have never seen that before. And then he's just like stuck with it.
That was gruesome, bro. It was stuck in his teeth. Well, the gruesome part what happens in a minute after that, but it was stuck in his teeth. So they start trying to bolt out of there. The dude with the flashlight makes it out. Uh-oh, you heathens. You just snuck into a fortress with a whole bunch of people. There's like 50 dudes out there. You might have snuck in quietly, but y'all made a whole bunch of noise. Yep. That was so funny because the dude came out and everybody's like, click, 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 just ready. And then all of a sudden you see the limp. I know you're tired of the limp.
Awesome.
But right away you knew it was Gouda. And he was like, Gouda, you know what I mean? Like the dude was
Gouda. He was just sad like a boss.
And then you remember why I fell in love with Gouda. It came back to me. Let's take it back. Mirzapur. Let's go back in time, guys. Mirzapur, episode 1. The gangsters come to his house because his dad is really just not the smartest. He's about the dumbest lawyer you could ever think of. He's trying to take out this Don's son or whatever. I'm just being honest here. And his dad, got these thugs in the house and they're all threatening his mom and threatening his dad. They got guns and everything. And with a kitchen fork, my man puts in work. Oh, take it, cousin. It came back to that level of savagery, bro. He pulled the flashlight out of his. Oh God, the teeth came. Ah! Wow, that was rough, man. That was rough, bro. I was like, oh my gosh, she's back. This is why I fell in love with Gouda. All right, correction. I retract my previous statement. Muna's no longer my favorite character.
Oh,
I'm back
wow.
with
How quickly he changed his sides.
I needed to see the savagery.
This was a short episode. It was like 38 minutes. I cannot remember. Is this the episode where they send the teeth back to Muna, or is that the next episode?
That's the next episode. That's like the first 5 minutes of the next episode. And they send the gangster. Oh my gosh.
We'll get to that in our next review. But I mean, this episode was cool. I thought I had said in episode 2's review that this one, things are going to go crazy. Things are going to go down. Didn't happen. There was some cool stuff that happened, and the whole spider crawling scene and all that whole action sequence was cool, but didn't happen exactly the way I thought. I'm with you, though. What was their whole game plan? I thought they were going for reconnaissance, those two jokers. I mean, only for they figured out that Lala's in cahoots with Gouda. You get the prime information, but they're going to turn all the power off, kill. I mean, they got way too greedy with the whole thing, and they end up. They got the information back to Muna and Jarpathi's eventually, but at what cost? I mean, two of these big henchmen, they're done. I don't know what their game plan was, but this show is slowly building, and I hope there's a crescendo that's not waited to the very last episode to where we get some kind of satisfaction going on. I like how pieces are being built. I like how Golu is all in. I like how they get Dimpy. I was wrong about that. I thought she was going to be a little more trained in it. Nope. She wants to go do her own thing, and I respect that. She's at college doing her stuff or whatever. Gudu, and him and Golu, they got their plan. They've convinced Lala. Lala gives him a nod when they save his life. He's like, okay, let's roll deep together. This episode was super short. I'm trying to think of any other points that I really want to mention that we didn't mention yet.
I mean, we didn't get a lot from our new favorite character, Sharad Shankar. You know what I mean? But like you said, it was a relatively quick episode, right? And really, I think that it's laying down, in my opinion, the seeds for dissension. All right, bro. She's playing two men. Forget about two men.
Poppy seed.
Father and son against each other. So that's a nightmare. That's a love triangle made in hell. That thing is going to end in disaster. Then you see the motivation for Makpul, who is the number one henchman or whatever, but you see where, okay, his nephew's involved, and I'm guaranteeing you, they're probably like, you're right, his nephew's going to get found out. They're probably going to do something gruesome, torture him, skin him alive, and that's going to be the last straw for my pool, because this is my blood. This is my kin, you know what I mean? You could have handled it differently, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you see that finally Gouda has evolved from just that straight Hulk, like we could like to call him, that brute. So now he's using his head, you know what I'm saying? He's using his head. He still has that Hulk in him when he needs it. I couldn't have pulled that flashlight out, cousin, teeth and all. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you could, but I don't think I could have done that. You know what I'm saying? The dude is still, you know, but with that being said, he's starting to use his head. Now he's got himself a major ally in Lala. And remember, Lala also has political connections. So that's an important thing. The fact that, you know, he's finally got some backing. I'm excited. Anything else you want to talk about for this episode, Nick?
No, I mean, this was a good episode. It wasn't the, you know, the bloodbath I was expecting, and, you know, the action I was hoping for, but it definitely kept building things up. I do think there was too much time spent in that doctor's office with those kind of jokes. I wanted to go a different direction, but that's okay. I liked the kind of humor they had in the first season, like the mother's milk, like the quick kind of humor that made you laugh, made you crack up, but it wasn't like slapstick with the whole music. But that's just my thing. Let us know what you guys think about this episode. Let us know what you're excited about for the future episodes. I know most of you guys already binged this entire thing, so try to keep in the vein of episode 3, even though I failed once, and come back tomorrow or the next day for another review on Mirzapur episode 4. But until next time,
we know all things.